Reform of the World Bank and the IMF, food security and climate change will be high on the agenda when Commonwealth heads and foreign ministers meet in New York later this month.
Vendors occupying the shacks along the Chedijagan International Airport will no longer be allowed to operate at nights.
And police have arrested one of the suspects believed involved in the sexual assault and robbery of 2 nurses at the Wisma Hospital complex.
The details of these and other stories, business news, judiciary and of course the latest sporting action in the Diamond, Mineral Water and NCN Sport News and more after these. Good evening, I'm Delicia Fletcher.
And I am Janelle Prasad.
With the recitation of the 6 o'clock news for today, Monday, September 15, 2008. Here's what's happening, Janelle.
Thank you, Delicia. Reform of the World Bank and IMF, food security and climate change will be high on the agenda when Commonwealth heads and foreign ministers meet in New York later this month. Guyana is likely to be represented by President Barra Jagdeo and Foreign Affairs Minister Carolyn Rodriguez Burkett. Here are details.
New York on September 24, where they will review and endorse a statement of beliefs and proposals by 11 member countries in June on how to make global institutions work better. A statement from the Commonwealth Secretariat says the focus of their discussions will be on the continuing efforts to accelerate UN reform, to promote deeper reform in the World Bank and IMF, and to promote a new system for global environmental governance. Leaders will also discuss the global and the local impact of rising food prices. They will explore ways in which the Commonwealth can assist in addressing the challenges of and opportunities for increasing food production. The statement highlights too that the Commonwealth already runs programs of information exchange and improvement of agricultural production techniques. Leaders will also have preparatory discussions before the UN Summit on the Millennium Development Goal, where they expect to repeat the Commonwealth emphasis on the interdependence of democracy and development in meeting the goals. On September 24th, Commonwealth foreign ministers will meet to review progress on meeting Commonwealth commitments made at the last Heads of Government meeting in Kampala in November last. They will be looking at addressing climate change issues, especially as they affect small states, and to share Commonwealth's best practices in building respect and understanding and addressing extremism. Commonwealth Secretary General Kamlesh Sharma says these meetings held in the wings of the UN General Assembly are of course debating these issues at its very center. He says the combined voice of a quarter of the world's countries will be heard by all as they seek to demand action as well as argument that will benefit member states. Guyana is likely to be represented by President Barra Jagdeo and Foreign Affairs Minister Carolyn Rodriguez Burkett. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
This week's Special CARICOM Council for Trade and Economic Development meeting will examine challenges facing the region's transportation and aviation industry. Also high on the agenda is the Regional Tourism Marketing Campaign. The possibilities for a single airspace and the establishment of a CARICOM ministerial organ for tourism, the promotion and development of airline hubs will also be discussed. The ministerial meeting will be preceded by a preparatory meeting of officials on September 16, 2008. Vendors occupying the shacks along the Chedijagan International Airport will no longer be allowed to operate at nights. This is according to Transport and Hydraulics Minister Robeson Ben, who said this is all part of a plan to regularize the area. More on this, Akila Jacobs report.
Transport Minister Robeson Ben says further discussions will be held with squatters and residents in the area on the ongoing plans to regularize the area. He notes that these plans are not to upset the livelihood of the vendors, but to have it done in a regulated manner.
With respect to the shops, we do not want them operating beyond daylight hours. And as I said, we will meet soon with the committee with whom we had previous discussions for the shops to try to nail down some initiatives.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Hines says a buffer zone will be implemented at CJIA and persons falling beyond that area will be removed.
There's also another area where we were about to, in the process of regularizing, but that area in particular seems to be the area from which people, whether it's the people who live there or not, but people are getting cover from that area and stealing things, vandalizing and stealing things from within the airport fence.
The Prime Minister also noted that 80 acres of land in the Timeri area has been earmarked for the relocation of vendors and residents. In the meantime, the demolition exercise on abandoned shacks and houses continues. Reporting for the NCN News, Akila Jacobs.
Latin America and the Caribbean could save about $36 billion over the next decade by adopting affordable and available technologies to improve energy efficiency. This is according to an IDB report released today following a study of the region's energy consumption policy. Here are details.
The report estimates the productivity of energy use and compares prices for residential electricity, gasoline and diesel fuel in 24 of the region's countries. This was announced by IDB President Luis Alberto Moreno at a conference on energy efficiency and competitiveness co-hosted by the IDB and the governments of Germany and Switzerland. Moreno says there is no doubt that if countries in the region adopt the right policies, within a decade it would be possible for 1/3 of the energy required by Latin American electricity sector to come from efficiency measures. The IDB president says this would be the equivalent to reduce electricity consumption by 10% by the end of the next decade with low-cost investments. The report offers estimates for each country on the cost of achieving a 10% reduction in electricity use expected by 2018. It says Latin American and Caribbean countries would need to invest more than $17 billion in compact fluorescent lighting, efficient motor and other measures to achieve a 10% reduction in electricity consumption by 2018. But if the region does not become more energy efficient, it would need to build an estimated 328 open-cycle gas-powered electricity plants. According to the report, at today's prices, using extremely conservative assumptions, it would cost around $53 billion to build those plants. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Nurses in Linden have ended their protest and decided to return to work, giving authorities a 48-hour ultimatum to address their concerns. Minister within the Ministry of Health, Dr. Berry Ramsaran, today met Region 10 health officials and met Region 10 officials and the Workers' Union to come up with ways of addressing the situation. Recommendations were for increased security at the hospital and the provision of transportation for the nurses to their homes and among others. The officials indicated that they are going to address the nurses' situation within the next 2 days. Nurses at the Linden Hospital took strike action since Thursday last, following the robbery and rape of one of their colleagues. Meanwhile, police have arrested one of the suspects involved in the sexual assault and robbery of the 2 nurses at the Linden Wisma Hospital complex. The suspect was arrested around 21 hours on Saturday at 1 Mile Wisma Linden and is now assisting police with the investigation. The Inter-American Development Bank has offered to fund Guyana's basic nutrition program for another 3 years. Executive Vice President Daniel Zelikow says the bank's intention is to scale up the program based on the outcome of the current project. Onika Jones has details.
The IDB Executive Director, Mr. Daniel Zelikow, was here just for the day. But before he left, he visited the Sophia Health Center in an assessment of the basic nutrition program. Mr. Zelikow says he was updated on the success of the program in an earlier meeting with Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh.
One of the top success stories that he mentioned is this very program, that he would like not only was celebrating how successful he feels that it has been, but also urged us to continue it. And let me just tell all of you that that is exactly our plan, not only to continue this program, but to scale it up in a very important way throughout the country.
The program is designed to address the nutritional problems among pregnant mothers and children aged 6 to 24 months. This is done through the distribution of an iron supplement and a voucher to purchase other food items to reduce malnutrition. And Minister within the Ministry of Health, Dr. Berry Ramsaran, has urged parents to get involved in the program.
We wanted to fight anemia and we wanted to fight malnutrition. Why? If we allow your children to go into the schools at a later stage and they have not had a good start, they will be disadvantaged. And then they too will end up being poor because they can't get a good job if they don't pass the CXCs.
The program is offered at some 80 health centers countrywide. Meanwhile, several mothers at the health center were today highly praised for offering exclusive breast milk for their babies. In July, Cabinet approved some $300 million to extend the Sprinkles Nutrition Program, which has been supported by the IDB since 2003. Unika Jones, the 6 o'clock news.